Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I have another layout using the Spencer's kit. And I did pull a few things from my stash. Crafter's Workshop template, Hero Arts navy ink, and some twine, and a little bit of wood veneer. But for me, I don't feel that a page is complete unless I have those things. So I'm going to take out, and this is a vanilla background sheet, and I'm going to take out that Crafter's Workshop, and it's the first time I use that template, so I was happy about that. I love it when I use something that I've never used. And then I'm going to use my navy ink from Mr. Huey, and I'm just going to spray it down. And you know that usually when I use my templates, I like to use ink and a sponge because I find it's neater. But I thought this time I would try and do the Mr. Huey thing, which, it's a different look. It's not my favorite look, but I mean, your pages can't all look the same. So, and I quickly washed my template with some baby wipes, and still I couldn't get it all off. Like, I got it off so that at least I was semi-happy with it, but that navy ink really stains. So that's going to be the background. And the last one, instead of spraying it, I used it as a stamp pad. So I just flipped it over and stamped it. And these pictures are of, it's Campbell Hall. And it's the train station that we stopped at every time we went to New York. It was about 20 minutes away from our campground. So we would just drive there, park our vehicle, and then take a train into New York. And then the drive was about an hour and 20 minutes in the train. So I just want to document. I took a picture of the machine that we got our tickets from, and the kids in front of that sign, Campbell Hall. And that was actually our first day that we took the train. So they were pretty hyped up, and both of them had never been on a train before, so it was a different treat. So I'm going to mat the photos so that on the bottom left there is kind of a little space there, and that's where I'm going to do my journaling. I'm going to put a journaling card, and I'm going to do the journaling there. So now I'm looking for other papers that I might want to use. And first I decide to use that Kaiser Craft stamp. And it looks like, I don't know, I want to say treadwear, but it's more like, I don't even know what it's called. I just like the effect that it did on the page. So this is a Studio Calico paper, and I think I'm going to use it, but nope, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to look for a couple washi tapes. They're just too bright. The next one I'm going to take out, I'm actually going to end up taking, but not in its entirety. I don't know what happened to that washi tape, but there was a big, and that came like that when it was new. There was a big chunk out of it. So now I'm going to start gluing the main piece of the layout down, and then I'm going to take that other Studio Calico paper, and it's like numbers and stuff, so it reminded me of times of arrival and departure and that kind of stuff. So that's why I used it. And then I'm going to use that washi tape that we got in the month in the kit a few months ago, and instead of huge strips, I'm just going to put a few strips here and there to kind of pull in the color. And the colors of the washi are really good. They're navy, light blue, and orange, so it works out good. Now I'm going through my digital prints, and I'm going to go for some orange. And how I get those on the tags is I use American Craft This to That dot adhesive, and it works really well. It's a non-permanent adhesive, and it just keeps it so that it's on the page, and when you're on the tag, and when you're ready to use it, you just pop it off and you use it. I don't cover the whole back, I just put a little bit of it. And then this is going to be my title. It's just going to say A Perfect Day in. And then at first I'm going to write out Goshen in pen. But then I just got an order in from Close to My Heart, because I'm a member. I have to buy every month. And I had ordered their enamel letters, and they're in navy. So then I decided to use that. And I took out some enamel dots, and I'm going to use some of those. And I believe this is where I walk away for a bit. So this is where I'm going to let you know that this is layout 8 of 50 for the Facebook challenge. And the link is always in the description. If you want to join us, it's a great group of ladies, and it really motivates you to get a whole bunch of pages done before you actually, do some more shopping. And I completed my 50 pages. So hopefully in a week or so, I'll be able to do a haul and show you what I got. But it takes quite a bit of time to get orders here in Canada. And this layout took me 58 minutes. And it's actually the 4th layout for the Spencer's kit. So now I'm just went through my stash, and I'm going to look for something so that I can do my journaling. So I'm just looking through. These were a pattern paper that I had cut up last month. It was All About a Boy from Echo Park sheet. So I looked through there first because the colors were right, but I couldn't find any that were oriented the correct way. So now I'm looking through my Studio Calico cards that I had bought. There's some 3x4s and some 4x6. And I also looked through my Project Life 4x6 cards. So I decided to just use a 3x4 card, and I'm going to cut it down. And this here is just the branding strip from one of the papers, and it just coordinated really well, but I couldn't get it to work. And I'm really trying to use some of those buttons from the kit this month, but none of them is going to make it onto the page. So I'm just going to cut it down to size so that it fits in that little spot well. And there's going to be an awkward little, because the card wasn't long enough, so there's an awkward gap there. So I'm looking for stuff that maybe I can fill it in. And that tag is not going to stay there. So now I'm looking through my stickers, and I'm going to choose a couple. And what I do is I use my rub-on tool, and I take the stickiness away. And then it becomes a die cut, which is awesome because you can move it around on your page and not worry about it once you get it stuck down somewhere, that it's stuck there forever. And then I inked up the edges with the Hero Arts navy ink. And this is the second time I've had to do this recording, so hopefully this time it records, because the more time you do it, the more stuff you forget to say, because you've said it so many times that you think you've already said it, if that makes any sense. So I chose another sticker from that basic gray sheet, and I'm going to stick it to that top cluster. And I took out some of my Freckled Fawn heart wood veneer, and I really like those. They're kind of hollow in the middle, like they're cut out. They're not full. One says love, and the other 2 or 3 that I chose are just kind of cutouts of hearts. And now I'm going to look through my die cuts that we got in this month, and we got a ton this month. We got 3 basic gray packages. Well, one of them was with the Project Life, but I threw it in there. We got those metal tags. We got fabric stickers. We got those cork arrows that look like cork, but they're just paper. we got those speech bubbles that were with cardstock instead of vellum, which, by the way, I love because then you can use them as layers instead of always speech bubbles. And then in those die cuts packages, there was so much per packages. It was unreal. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just going through the whole thing and I'm just picking out anything that's orange. So I'm just picking that out. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to use everything, but at least it gives me options, I guess is the word that I want to use. So there's quite a bit too of acetates and that kind of stuff, and we got tags too that weren't in those die cuts. So lots and lots of stuff. So it should be fairly easy to get, over 20 pages with this month's kit too. So now I'm going to play around with all the placements of all those little doodads that I just took out, because I just kind of took them out and just kind of randomly put them on the page. So now I'm going to decide that I'm going to stamp my title. And again, that stamp set came, I believe it was in the Project Life, and it just says a perfect day in. And at first I'm going to write it out with my marker, and then I got my order in, and then I remembered those enamel circle dots. So you'll see them in the close-up pictures how I use them. And I really like it a whole lot better because they're navy and it really coordinates with the page really well. And that card was one of the cards, it was sort of our ticket. So I kept it, and then I knew I wanted to put on a layout as a souvenir, memento of or ephemera. Some people say, of stuff that that we got from the trip. And this is where I decide to take away that tag, and I'm going to put that speech bubble instead. But there's a little awkward gap right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that tag at the top of the page that was kind of hanging out, and I was going to have to cut it off anyways. So I'm going to put that at the bottom, and then it kind of takes away that awkward gap there at the bottom. And I'm still looking at those my mind's eye stickers to see if there's a couple of words that I could add on to this layout. And then I went through my stash and got some twine, and I decided on the orange because with the mist and stuff, there's so much navy going on that I wanted a splash of color. And I'll warn you in advance, my battery died, so it kind of stopped abruptly. But basically, all I had left to do was just glue on. Everything is kind of staying where everything is now. I'm just adding the twine and some glue to all the stuff. And that little rad sticker was actually a tag, so I just put some twine through it. And now I'm going to glue down my journaling spot, and that little tab at the top there that said memories, I actually had cut it in two, and I used the other half on another layout. That's why I never stick them together and use them as a real tab, because you get double the use of them. And I usually end up using both sides of it, so it's double for your money. So I'm just going to keep gluing down my stuff, and I put some foam tape in behind that arrow. And then my battery died, so basically I just added the twine and a few enamel dots. So if you want to see still pictures of the layouts, you can go to 2 Peas in a Bucket and Studio Calico and just search for Nicole Jones 911, and you'll see close-ups of the pages. So that's it. The page is done. So thanks for watching. Bye.